Gor, hello. Welcome onto the show. Thank you for being here today.
Hello, Lindsay. Hello, hello. Thank you too.
Happy Friday.
Yes,
Everybody, this
happy
is week
Friday.
three. Week three of the Ask Lindsay interview series with CEOs and founders of the blockchain industry. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Gor. He is the co-founder and CEO of Sirius, which is a Metaverse Studio and the creator of the SRAC, a unique NFT collection featuring 10,000 items and also featuring the Starlite Racing League Metaverse Racing Competition. So, Gor, thank you for being here today and look forward
You're
to chatting.
welcome. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you for having me. Happy Friday, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Maybe it might be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now. So happy day and
Happy day.
blessings.
I like that. All right, Corey, and we can get right into the questions. First, actually, do you mind giving a small background of you've been involved in crypto for a long time, 2009.
Mhm.
Um, what was it like starting that early? And what's your journey been like? If you could tell us a little bit.
Starting, years ago, around 2009, has been definitely has been a journey. It has been a journey of, I would say, transformation. It has been a journey of transformation, awakening, in all aspects, from understanding a new system that has not existed before, and being part of a global revolutionary change all this time. And I would say it's a blessing. I would definitely, it's a blessing. It's part of my vision. I have been always, anybody asks for things as far as your vision, your daily life, and how you think and what you want to accomplish in your life, you will always reach those goals. And mine has always been being on the pioneer of technology or pioneering a certain industry. And this is where like SRAC comes in, and this is where, example, being a part of Serious Play comes in as well. Being part of a project that has a vision to be a pioneer in a certain industry at a very early stage on. Where, example, like in 2009, maybe some individuals around me, my best friends, even thought Bitcoin is air money, right? They were saying it's air money. What are you talking about, Gore? Gore must not be thinking straight because something like that cannot exist. It's impossible, right? So, esports, they might think same theory, as far as it might not be possible to equate to the real sporting world and to real life competition, real life, like the thrill and excitement of a celebration at a certain time, right? But no, it is going to come to that point. So that point is being built now, and we're part of building that, the being pinnacle of the esports community through Starlight Racing League, right? And then Siroc is an opportunity for all the fans, people who love this industry, people who love our mission, vision, and where we're headed, right? To support us at an early stage on, the opportunity they have is to become a holder, right? So to become a holder of our NFT, which contributes to our project to help us move forward. And throughout the last couple of years, our supporters have helped us reach to a point where now we have our better game. So now we have a better game that's a multiplayer game where one individual from one part of the world could race with another individual from another part of the world, but through our vision, through the Starlight Racing League vision. So, it's a journey, and it's always transformative. It's always transformative. To answer the question directly, it has been a transformative awakening experience. That's
Mhm.
always ongoing, just like the crypto industry is always going. There is
Yeah.
no end to it, and the halving is coming up. I think today or tomorrow. It's in the next couple of hours. So there's going to
Yeah.
be a halving coming. Like, what is after the halving, right? Do they know what happens to the machines after the halving, right? The machines what become validators. So now there's another industry, coming into play after all the coins are complete. We are not even, the system has not even completed yet, right? So in order for the system to be complete, all the coins have to be mined, right? So we're still mining, we're still, technology is still developing, quantum nodes are being made. So quantum technology is going to play a big role. The effect of it, we don't even really know what the effect and results are going to be because it's so advanced what's coming in. And then quantum language is going to come in, which is above like AI. So humans create quantum language. So and these are all understandings of of greater understanding that where we're going is an area of like the unknown. Yeah, we might have understood like the known unknown, but now we're going into an area of unknown that everybody has to be ready to kind of you know accept and just kind of breathe this in and like go with it and understand like not to do wrong things, to not make big mistakes in this unknown area that's in front of everybody now, which is within
Surely.
the Web3 space and 6G coming out.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And I know that you've been sitting on this for a very long time. 2009 is an insane amount of time ago, especially for how young the industry is. Do you mind talking about a little bit what that was like being a believer and an advocate for this technology that you believed in 2009?
Yeah, I mean, I first started with my first wallet was like the Bitcoin web. It was through the web. I had to download on my computer. I had to sync to the network. Took a lot of time. This was all like I was just looking at the thing. I was like, wow, this is cool. Yeah, I felt like I was in a sci-fi movie. I mean, it was years ago, so my energy was a little bit younger, youth energy, and I became I made it a hobby of mine. I wasn't into too much. Like I played sports, tennis, basketball for like little things here and there, swimming. But this whole being able to be part of a future monetary system really, got me worked up. And being able to be a part of it was just phenomenal. I mean, it's like you're plugging in a machine and then it's generating a token of some sort after, of course, and then that token is able to be converted to fiat currency, right? It's like you're literally creating, through energy at the time. I mean, again, it was very sci-fi for individuals around me, and yeah, they thought it was air money. A lot of people thought it was a high-level crime. I was like, no, guys, this is not a crime thing. This is like a future technology. Early stage, even government organizations, they were not understanding what it is. So like geos, they were confused too because some divisions were not aware of it. Were not aware of what it is, and why they were not aware of the geos is because they simply didn't choose to pursue the knowledge in that field. So I believe when a government organization has a responsibility to keep civil society safe, they have to, on their own, learn what is here now and what's happening with it, how civil society is implementing it or how we're implementing it, right? It could be created in, let's say, DC, but Cali, right? So they got to understand there's a separation, right? There's a separation in state, city, nation, right? So the separation creates like a breaking point of where the government organizations sometimes don't have the ability to find out what's going on within their own organization. So, and then when they find out it's all good, they're like, okay, now let's regulate. Now let's regulate something in California. Now let's regulate something in New York. Now in New York we could do licensing because now we understand what it is. Now let's build a whole license structure around it. It's like
Absolutely. Yeah.
so.
It's like a crime for being curious. For
Uh, that is what is still going on, is
yeah,
building of more regulations to suppress the entrepreneurs in some way, to slow them down or to monetize off of their project when they don't even understand the project still,
right.
because the project has not even been complete yet.
No.
How do you do regulation on Bitcoin when Bitcoin has a cap of 21 million coins, let's say, right, of assets digital, and then
Yeah.
after those are reached, then it changes the program. It becomes validated as the machine. So the system, I mean, how do you? It's not. It's still being made, right? So they have to be patient. I believe the government organizations have to be more enforcing uh, educational, as far as uh, like educational, forgot the word, forgive me, my thought just, I'm not reading anything I wrote, right? Because
No,
everything's natural. So
no worries.
they have to regulate more educational protocols for
Yes.
entrepreneurs to make sure they're just doing things correctly than to be fining them here and there, right? So because what they're doing is to make a better future, right? To solve a problem. Most of these
Mhm.
projects are to solve a problem, not to create a problem, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, the focus has to be steered to de-escalation, not
Hmm.
escalation. They have to do positive reform, not negative reform. And these are areas where I believe the government needs to focus on more than strict regulations and these
Yeah.
policies and stuff, just to create more business for the attorneys and keep the courts busy, right? Use civil society for just using the human beings as a business. It goes back to,
Mhm.
again, to the beginning, where they monetize off of our us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's a great point. Regulation is a big topic of conversation, and I do really love talking to people who've been in the industry for a long time versus people who are in regulatory. Or it's curious to hear from both sides. People who are in regulatory jumping here and being like, we need to be involved here, but the people who are involved in the actual technology and care about the things it can do. It's a crazy two sides. But it's great to hear your perspective.
Yeah,
And
to
as a
disruption.
leader, yeah,
Hmm.
it is. I can see this can be a much longer conversation if time allowed.
Yeah.
I can tell. And Gord, to talk a little bit more about you and your company, Serious Play has made a lot of moves and created a lot of tangible things. You talked a little bit about the new multiplayer game. What has been a standout moment of excitement in your startup journey as a co-founder and a leader?
Specifically for serious play or in general?
That's totally up to you. This is about you.
Well, as a standing point, I mean, it was, I would say, so far the pinnacle has been of my, everything I've been doing so far is I spoke at UN for a couple of years. So I spoke for the UNOSSC, which is the United Nations Office of South-South Cooperation, for the
Wow.
2030 agenda. And I did the opening speech for the Science and Tech Division. I presented my pitch deck for the 2030 agenda. And then they signed the Science and Tech Division in the SDGs. So I went to Antalya, I spoke there at a high level conference, and New York a couple of times, all for blockchain, for impact, how to use blockchain to do positive disruptions all over the world in almost every single industry possible. And this is where everything is going. And speaking to global leaders, being part of a global circle where I have diplomats sitting and having lunch with me for 4 or 5 hours, okay, multiple times, and I love them. Okay,
Wow.
they're part of my UN circle, and we think alike. We understand, we understand human rights, we understand civil rights, we understand, everything is through children. So making sure the world is a better place and making a change through the world through kids. So positive child education, positive reform in the education system, positive home environment, positive school environment. So it's safe in all areas, right? From food too, what we're eating, as far as being vegetarian or not, has a big role in being healthy or not and dying early, and because the human body is not made to digest dead animals in general. So, and that conscious understanding alone, and to reform that, right? And then having, let's say, example like blockchain technology in the future, keep track of us, right? Keep track of like the quality of a human being on a transparent ledger, like a global ledger, right? The global ledger where it knows about you, who you are, right? You don't want, let's say, some type of a criminal, going from this country to another country, and then over there their name is clean, but then they start doing some weird stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or like a child molester. All this problems could be solved immediately overnight through blockchain, because it's a transparent global system. It's not linked to any particular like country or organization, right? It just needs to be put to use correctly, which is a part of having a project that has a good use case behind it. You don't just launch like a cloud coin, right? So a lot of people are launching mimi coin, titi coin, right? So pipi coin. So why put all that time and energy, right? Why are these groups putting all that time and energy into a PP, into a doggy, into whatever, right? When they could come into like come together, come together, do 2 projects, do 3 projects, but let's make a global change within 6 months. Not make lines go up and down, make actual change outside on the streets, right? Where people are sleeping sometimes on the floor. So, this is a part of like example. SRAC is to solve a problem of, let's say, people are racing, they have a car crash, some people die, people get paralyzed. Part of our team is a member, he was in a car crash. So this is another reason, the game is coming to existence, and it's coming into the esports community to solve the problem of humans having to hurt themselves, right? Like, there's sports. They call it a sport. They call it you could call it whatever, right? It's a matter of what you decided to call it. People punching each other, bleeding, noses are breaking, stuff's happening. It's a human interaction, okay? Human interaction, and we're showing that to civil society. We're projecting that visually, right? Televising that it's, and then you see kids in schools do the same wrestling matches, and then you see that same thing again on it's like a system. It's a boomerang. Who threw the boomerang first? It goes hits everybody, comes back to the leader. But there was a show in between, right? So the show has to stop. Or a positive show has to go on, only because it's creating disruption. It's negative. It's a negative energy all over the world. There's a lot of negative energy, and it's through mass media. And to kind of shift the direction through mass media, gaming and stuff, we have to do positive disruption. So positive game, positive news, right? So
I agree.
And it's us. It's like us, right? If we don't do it, who's gonna do it? You think the guy over there is gonna do it? No. They're already seasoned. They're already settled. They're settled, meaning they have job security.
Right.
So,
they're somewhere else.
Job security. Most of them are, paid by our tax dollars in their job security position.
Gor, we're lucky to have someone like you at the forefront of these discussions, because you're looking at it from a very holistic view, or a positive way. And this is what originally attracted me to the space. So it's wonderful to hear these things. You're very passionate about it. And I'm excited to share this with my people on LinkedIn.
Nice.
And a little bit more about Sirius Play. We've talked about the future, your dreams. Where do you see Sirius Play in 5 years? And explain a little bit how you'd like to get there.
Yeah, good question. So in 5 years, I see Sirius Play already funded. And I see Sirius Play already IPO. And I see Sirius Play, already thinking about multiple esports centers all over the world, meaning what is going to be our next location? What is going to be the next esports center? So we already have one, right? 1 or 2 maybe, but not too many in the next 5 years. And then 5 is expansion. So global expansion should be, in 5 years, we go mass. So we go global expansion in 5 years. And this is where I see it. I see it as already a community, a global community. I see it as, like example, GameStop, the word. So I see it as that. Sirius Play, it's a common word in the industry. So in 5 years, it becomes a common word that everybody just knows. It's not up to me anymore. So many people don't know the owner of GameStop, but they know about GameStop. So that's where I want to lead Sirius Play and Starlite Racing League 2. Don't know me, know the project, right? So the project is the star. So making the project more into the celebrity. So tailoring it to this celebrity, the project. So building that star is what I'm doing in the meantime, right? And then in 5 years, the star is going to get an Oscar award, right? So, and I'll be there watching.
Clapping in the back. I'll yell your name. I'll give you credit.
We'll both be clapping. Like, hey, remember that meeting 5 years ago?
Way back 5 years ago. I'll be there, Gor. I promise.
Yeah.
The vision's
Yeah, that's
everything. The
yeah,
vision's
vision
everything.
is key, and knowing the vision, and then you have to put the steps how you're gonna get there. That's the ducks.
Absolutely.
So one duck at a time.
One look at a time, one day at a
Yeah.
time. That's my favorite phrase. I genuinely say that every day, one day at a time. Or I would love to keep talking. It has been 20 minutes. If you don't mind, I think we'll dive into the last two questions, just the fun ones that I like to ask to get to know you a little bit better personally. That's all right. Any
Yes.
last words about serious play? I'd love to open the floor for you. Anything, blockchain, anything at all.
Serious play. As long as I'm a part of Serious Play will have a vision which is limitless. It will have a vision where every single supporter of our SRAC NFT will have some sort of an experience that will be life-changing in a positive way. Either through a live event where you'll meet me, where I've had a live event in LA, great individuals, great vibe. I mean, it was excellent, right? So where we're going towards is a community, right? So any individual that supports, again, our Sorok project will be a part of my life experience and where all my projects are headed. And I believe that's the most value I could give is myself. So you supporting Serious Play, you're supporting me and every single vision I have going right now. Simple as that, guys.
All together. That's beautiful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. And anything I'm doing is for the world. Literally, it's through my children. I've two amazing daughters, and all the
Oh,
projects. Yeah, it's all leading for better education. I mean, through them to the world, right? So it's the love of a family and having a being that is able to make your mind evolve in a positive way to kind of do these projects uh, fearlessly. You have to move into things fearlessly and with truth and transparency and
yeah,
with traction. Yeah, with traction is like it's the foundation. The traction is the education. It's the grind. It's the code
absolutely.
behind a software. It's the glue behind something that put two things together. So all these are the little things you put together becomes a whole building one day. But start somewhere and be fearless and just do it. Nike said, just do it. I believe in that quote. I mean, it's a very powerful quote. Just do it, guys. I just do it. You just do it. Don't be afraid to fail. Rock it.
Rocket. I love it. Your girls are lucky. They don't have a dad that's teaching them. They have a dad that's inspiring them. So they're very lucky. How old are they?
They are 12 and 13.
Oh, the
Yeah,
perfect
12 and
ages.
13. Yeah, they're like, it's a teenager becoming a teenager. So there's a book. It's called Five Love Languages. There's one for
Oh,
kids. There's five love languages for kids. There's five love languages for marriage. There's five love languages for teens. I highly recommend anybody that has kids and a family, also a marriage, that you feel like you want to maybe work things out or learn a little bit more about how to do things better. Whatever the case is, I highly recommend those books. Those were very enlightening to me in my personal life. So
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
And that was actually my next question. What is your favorite book? Is that your answer to the question?
Well, on the personal side, that's a couple of my favorites. I do read a lot,
Yeah,
so I have many favorites. A couple of my favorites is one of them is the Third Circle Theory. That's an amazing book. Yes,
never heard of
which
it.
gives you an understanding of where you are, where others are, and where you could go if you want to choose to go. Right. So some people are very content, they settle, but Third Circle Theory gives you a broader understanding of pretty much all levels of individuals, from poor to a billionaire to all aspects of life experience. That's a very enlightening book, more technical understanding of where you are and where you're going to be headed. So that's an amazing book. And another one that taught me how to do multitasking very well is, of course, everybody probably knows this one, Tim Ferriss, 4 Hour Work Week. So
Oh,
if you
yes.
haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. The 4 Hour Work Week will teach you how to be able to multitask projects. So you're able to, let's say, in the beginning, right, early stage, from my experience, early stage, you know, put your fingers into a couple, see which one is locking in, and then move forward with those two, but not all like 10, right? So dig in there with the 4 Hour Work Week, get something you like, tinker with them,
Mhm.
and then fine tune them to the couple, and then move forward with those. So 4 Hour Workweek is a good book, which will give you the ability to do those things, which will give you the ability to be fearless, to not be able to think, oh, what if I can't? No, you will be able to. Okay, there is no you can't. The only you can't is you're not trying. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think those are.
the-
I mean, I've read a lot. It's just right now. I mean, The Secret is a great book, of course. I mean, The Secret is like a big original. It's like one of my OG books. Of course, everybody's favorite, the Bible.
Yeah, I did get that answer on another interview.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a basic. That should be like from childhood.
Basics are basics for a reason. They're basic for a reason.
And yeah, so many books. And if anybody's interested in what I'm reading now, please add me on LinkedIn, send me a DM, and I could just send you the latest book I'm reading. So yeah, I always read
Everything will be
constantly.
linked.
Yeah,
Everything will be
everything.
linked.
Cool. Yeah, I'll send you a list of all the books I have.
That would be
I
great.
have read. Yeah, I have read. I have a lot of books, but there's a lot I've read, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of my collection that I still want to read.
Use Goodreads, Gor? Have you ever used Goodreads before?
I don't use Goodreads as much. I usually read physical books, or I do Audible. So if I'm on the road, if I have an hour drive, if I'm stuck in traffic, I'll just read an Audible book. Why am I going to listen to radio or something? Beautiful. Yeah, mostly Audible books on the road, and then physical books at home. My kids read physical books. I give them a lot of books. They read books. I'm letting them be kids too, right? So you got to let the kids be kids. Don't pressure them too much with as far as business books, but give them light education. Have them do some projects. They've built their own projects. My kids, I'm building another gaming studio called Supernova Studios. So yeah, and it's they love playing Roblox. So my youngest daughter started developing on Roblox. So yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, she developed this game already, literally, where she goes, jumps over things, this, that, on her own. I mean, you have to see the world she made, right? And I'm just
you can share that too. I would be happy to share that as well.
Next time we could do a Zoom meeting with her.
We get that. I like that.
You could do a Zoom meeting with her, and then you could ask her how she likes building it, how she learned to build it, right? What? So you could ask a 12-year-old developing. I think she started when she was 11.
I was going to say she must have.
Yeah, 11. She started developing, and she knows a lot. She's using the game Roblox Studios to develop it.
You must be very proud. I would love to chat with her.
I've been proud of her before she was born. Both of them, not one of them. One develops, and my oldest one is more intellectual, so she likes to more take things inside and more wisdom, more consciousness. She spreads love with her. As far as if she's next to you and she speaks to you, she will awaken you. Both of them do. They're still developing. So one is doing this stuff. Maybe she'll change. They both play piano. They're very creative in all areas as far as
that's beautiful.
Physical sports or coding.
That's amazing. Hobbies and passions and these types of things as a kid are the most important. They really are. That's wonderful. They sound like lovely, lovely young ladies. I will meet them. I will meet them.
Yeah.
I will reach out for her game. I would love to see it.
Yeah, me too. I want to see the latest update.
We'll check it out together and cheer her in the background. And Gor, here's our last question. What is the nicest thing anybody has ever done for you?
The nicest thing anybody has ever done for me. I mean, it's always right now is just there's people around me. They do nice things, but the nicest thing, when you have a child that you really love, the nicest thing, it's always them doing things towards you because the love you built them with. So it's always them doing nice things towards me is what is the most nicest thing anybody. It's them towards me. That is everybody for me. There is no more everybody other than them. So, and what they do is, anything positive they do. It could be, hey, daddy, I love you. It could be something she made for me, like a bracelet. She paints things, they paint things. Every single moment is that. Everything is through them. So before I had my kids, I wasn't really thinking this way, right? I was really thinking maybe a little bit on my own, and just me and my ex-wife at the time I was married. So it was just me and my wife at the time. But with the kids coming into the world, if you don't have kids, as long as I think there's two types of ways of people having children. One is like it's an accidental baby, where they have to deal with the situation, and there's the situations where it's like you want to have the baby, it's a blessing more, right? So there's different situations. But this thing, this human being that comes out, through the creation, right, is an impact, right? What impact it has towards the human being, it matters on how it was created, right? So how was this being created? Was it through love? Was it an accident? Was it what? Was it an adoption? Many things happen, and you can't say they're all the same. They don't all equate to the same experience. So they all have different experiences. Now, when somebody chooses to create, like myself, my entire life experience through them as like a positive, role model, leaving a legacy behind, everything is through them, and everything is what they do for me, right? As far as the love, like the hugs, the reading together, and if that is not coming back, then something's off with, let's say, me, and I have to rebuild myself, right? Because a child is always truth. So if a child is always showing love and attention, and that energy is always there, you already know in your business life you're doing things correctly. So if things are a little bit off in that department at that stage, then you work out some maybe imbalances, then you would balance things out in the business world as well. But if you're single and you need to just strive things forward on your own, there's different strategies to use to help yourself go forward better, to have a more clear vision, which is example like multiple things you could do is take an accelerator course. Like I went through an accelerator course in LA by M Accelerator. It's an amazing accelerator program. You could Google it, M Accelerator. My coaches were Alessandro and Scott, and
Wonderful.
phenomenal. I mean, a lot of clarity, and they really have you laser focus on your pitch deck. They have you laser focused on every single aspect of your startup to make sure when you're speaking with investors, when you're creating your MVP, when you're pitching your elevator pitch, as people call it, or you're bootstrapping, or
Yeah.
however you're choosing to fund your project, I highly recommend an accelerator program. So me and Chad did that. We were, I believe, part of like 2,000 candidates. Only like 3 companies got accepted, and we
Wow.
did it. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. A lot of clarity. I mean, the coaches, Scott has been at UCLA, I think, for about 20 years, right? So imagine all the insight and knowledge you're receiving from professors in
Yeah,
the startup industry, right? In the startup
absolutely.
world, I was like 10 years old. My professors are, talking to VCs. So
Mhm.
you have to understand to learn, to choose
Yep,
to say hello to people you never did before, and maybe ask for guidance, ask for help as far as putting a pitch deck together, or understanding your project or business, or however you're doing things. Um, yeah.
absolutely.
So
Well,
nicest thing anybody's ever done for me is just, I guess it would be my ex-wife, giving birth to my 2 daughters.
that's Gor, the connection to
Worst thing in the
family,
world.
genuinely, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
There's nothing more important than family. I really appreciate that. And it sounds
you're
like
welcome.
you're very lucky, and your daughters have been very inspired to have a lot of passions and hobbies and do wonderful things,
Yeah, looking
wonderfully
forward to
positive
the
things.
interviews. Yes, thank you. And let's get some insight from the youngsters. Let's get some insight
Love
from
it.
the brains of our time, right?
Mm.
And maybe we could interview multiple young entrepreneurs, right? And
Make it a fun
build
series.
these, pre-teens into strong entrepreneurs before they even go to college. The only limitation is the understanding. These individuals are
Absolutely.
very smart. It's a
They are.
matter of what we're giving them to learn and why we're giving that at that time, right? So
Absolutely.
they're limitless. And I believe me and you, a lot of people in the society have been limited as far as our education.
Mhm.
What we're learning at what age, what we think it's normal to learn at that age. No, you could learn more at that age.
Yeah.
You just are being suppressed because of a systematic curriculum system that you're in. You're in
Mm.
class one. Class one has only this A, B, C, D, E, F. By the time you reach Z, you're like 50 years old, but it's
Yeah.
still second grade education.
Yeah. Yes.
The
Yes.
context is still low. It's like even if you graduate like college, like a city college, it's very low.
Yep.
This is why it's important to, as a collective, right? So we come together, right, as human beings. We run one race, like one, and we push ourselves together and not be divided by what has been dividing us,
Yep.
because those divisions were created by individuals to specifically divide us, meaning human interaction by some type of agreed individual that said, if somebody crosses this line, I'm going to take you to jail. But this is called Earth. Earth is Earth. It's not called country. This is one. It's one's ball, and nobody's had rules before. Some people just said, now if you cross this line, I'm going to do this to you, right? So all this line crossing, these are those are the big mistakes. These are the big mistakes that are hard to fix. If they made little mistakes before, not made these harsh decisions, we probably would have not had this like global problems right now. One blowing up one country, the other one wants to blow somebody up. Bro, you guys are all the same inside.
I know.
It's the skin, right? First it was the color issue, now it's the race issue, then now it's like a gender issue. Like everybody inside is the same. The soul that vibrates, the soul that moves his hand is
Yep.
the same energy source that moves the body in another being, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The soul speaks. The body is the body. So
I agree.
I don't understand why the government does not understand. So they create a new system, right, to keep our souls more balanced. Because right now they're using the material side to monetize off of, like the vaccines and this and that, right? Let's materialize, monetize off of the human body, not the soul, the body. Now, when are they going to monetize off of your soul? Yeah. So, right, they're already monetizing off of everybody's body. A few days ago, Japanese doctor, in Japan, like the head of
Mm-hmm.
older doctors, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Fauci here, over there is like the Japanese doctor. I forgot
Yeah,
his
the
name.
equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah, Google, everything is online. I don't have to remember everybody's
Mhm.
names, right? Just
Yeah.
know what's
No.
going on in the world. No,
Yeah.
understand what's going on. Be real.
Yep.
So, and
Absolutely.
everybody has to understand what we are able to make a global change by having like a DAO, right? Like a global DAO, like a decentralized autonomous organization that we vote, like we vote
Mm-hmm.
in ourselves, certain people that we believe in, right? Right
Mm-hmm.
now, it's like you see our president. I mean, I don't understand. I'm sure many don't, but
Genuinely.
it's a safety issue. It's a safety issue for civil society, right? Observing that there is no judgment. I
No.
judge zero, maybe some things, but when somebody is in a position
Yeah.
to do operation, right? If you're a doctor and your role is to be a heart surgeon, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're working in veins and stuff like this, right? You have a job to do. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're tripping and falling every single time, that means you cannot be in that position,
Mm-hmm.
because you have a responsibility, and one wrong move goes dead.
Yep.
So how do we know, like, no wrong moves have been made? How do we do due diligence in the last 2 years to see technically if this doctor, right, has done proper operations on all the patients throughout all this time? And all the patients are all the citizens in America that has been, in charge of to be responsible for.
Yep.
Accountability for our safety, well-being, comfort, our civil rights have to be protected, right? So, and education and intellect and really knowing things, right? So it's like, it's bizarre. I mean, I've traveled to, I went to Europe, I went to, Middle East, I met with diplomats, delegates for many years, and it's scary. It's scary to see what I'm looking at. Not,
Or
of course,
no.
it's really scary, and it's not right.
I
It's
see and
just
I
not
hear
right.
you.
Yeah,
I do. And
yeah, and
people think that
everybody's
these
being
things are so
distracted
far
by
off.
TikTok. Everybody's competing more on like, hey, who could do the dance better, or who could do the race better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have fallen into the trap. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the
Yep.
rabbit hole, bro or girl, whatever you are. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
I
Get out of
know.
the
I know it.
rabbit hole. It's like you create your life for your originality. If you see
Yes.
yourself and you see 50 other people around you like you, you're not original.
Yep.
Yeah. That means you are in some type of a rabbit hole, or, originality is being true to yourself and being you, right? So
Yep.
this is where like breath work, breathing, like meditation, and just
Mm-hmm.
take time for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Take time alone, like take a week off from everybody, or a month off from everybody. And if you
Mm-hmm.
come back the same, then in 40 days take yourself away to prove a point, at least to yourself, like when you come back, is this the real you, right? Or were
Yes.
you being influenced, right? So yeah,
People need
I
a
mean, I did
I
that. I do that all the time. I take time away to just always to go back to my core every so often, and
mm-hmm.
everybody should do that every so often, so you could always go back to your core, build your core, and move with your organic, original self forward. Yeah,
It seems like you do that. You're very in touch with how you feel and the way you think about things, Gor. It's I very much see that.
nice. So that's.
Or thank you. This has been you've covered a wide range of topics, and I think people believe that these things are so far off, but they're really not. They're all deeply connected. And you thinking and discussing with the most important organizations in the world that blockchain has influence and all these things that seem so disconnected is the reason why we appreciate having people like you in charge. So thank you. This has been a
Thank
wonderful
you, Lindsay.
conversation. I'm excited to share this with everybody.
Thank
And I
you.
will have everything linked. I will have Gor's contact information, his daughter's game also linked. I will have,
Nice. She's gonna be
yeah,
excited. I can't wait to
we'll
tell
add it
her.
in there. Of course, we'll add it in there. How could we not? We've talked about
Nice.
it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, love it.
Also, I will have Sirius Play website and LinkedIn also linked, so you can check out what they're doing. And we'll be excited to keep in touch and see how you guys move along in the beta stage and eventually to your global expansion.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
thank you,
Lindsay.
Gor. Thank you for your time. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye bye.